Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, Professor Saiful and fellow student. My name is Mugilas Jadi Suripto, and I'm one of student in risk management for Islamic banking class. Today, I will present my video regarding case study assignment 2. Before we continue, let me share you regarding the question in assignment 2. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. Based the instruction on assignment 2, it said that banking failures can be attributed to many factors, both internal as well as external to the organization. Losses can be blamed on poor underwriting of loans or in financing. This is from the internal perspective. It can also be due to shock from market volatilities, unwarranted mismatch of asset and liabilities. This is from the external factors. The human factor cannot be undermined, as banking losses and failures can emerge from wrong decisions that may implicate bad ethics and morality of decision makers of the firms. So I believe humans are very essential, because humans are the one who make the decision, who approve the loan or who decline the loan. And if the human, he or she is amanah, I believe the decision will be a good debt. But if he or she is not amanah, so I think the decision will be bad and making a bad debt for the bank. Okay, so in this assignment, you are invited to examine and analyze case study in Article 1 and the Al-Ghazali theory of ethics related in Article 2. Okay, that's the question, and there are 3 questions for assignment 2. And please allow me, I already made the answer, and allow me to share you my thought again to answer these 3 questions. Okay, the first question: what are the main lessons you can derive from Article 1 in light of managing risk of financial institution? After I read the Article 1, I think there are 2 important factors to managing risk of financial institution, to make a light of managing risk of financial institution. The first factor, the first one, is the importance of risk management. No economy can thrive to its full capacity unless risk management is solid. There was a wave of change in how risk function should be done. There was stricter and more detailed requirement for capital, leverage, liquidity, and funding, as well as higher standard for reporting risk. The Dodd-Frank Act not only mandates the formation of a separate risk management committee, but also mandates the appointment of at least one risk management expert who has previous expertise in determining, analyzing, effectively managing the risk exposure of big, complex, and business. So, number 1 is risk management. The risk management should be solid, should be stricter, should be detailed, and separate. Because the business is more complex, more detailed. So to defend the bank, we need modify risk management and separate from the executor, from the businessman, because risk management is like brake to make a balance from the business expansion. Okay, the second one is the transparency of and accountability. Is the need of holding organization big and small, including the federal government, responsible for their activities. It is essential to encourage solid risk management practices and enhance the risk management function integration into the agent's decision-making process. Because the Dodd-Frank Act requires derivative transactions to be performed on a central clearing exchange to control derivative contracts, gather data on derivative contracts to increase market transparency, enforce acceptable capital and margin requirement on derivatives dealers and swap participants, and ensure that registered swap dealers and large swap participants follow code of conduct. Okay, sometimes what makes a bad debt? Because there's no transparency in data, there's no accountability in data. So to once again to preserve the loan, to defend the bank, to protect the bank from bad debt, We need a transparency. We need accountability from every player, from every stakeholder who doing the banking activities. And the Dodd-Frank Act already applied that. Okay, that's my answer for question number 1. Okay, number 2. From Article 1, develop an ethical dilemma example based on any one of the financial service business of your choice. Okay, from Article 1, I choose internal auditing agency ethical dilemma. Okay, the number of their revenues as well as their considerable effect on the evolution of the global economic situation need a comprehensive examination of their governance and the transparency of the grading system. Credit rating agencies are meant to give objective, unbiased evaluation of organizations such as government, companies, financial institutions, and multinational corporation financial capabilities. Investment bank and rating agency have an compatible compensation structure. There is a possibility that rating agencies have provided rating because they were accurately computed and recommended to investor. The rating agency may have assigned the rating because they fear losing revenue if the bank paying for them were dissatisfied, and because they want to continue working with the banks and collecting money. Investors who were unaware of the inherent conflict of interest were likely misled. The failure of investment bank and rating agency to discuss the conflict to investor was unethical. So the rating agency is facing a dilemma, ethical dilemma, because they need to present the unbiased data. They need to be objective to present the data, to present their report. But however, they have concern if they give the report objective and the report is bad for the bank, is the bank think that the report is bad for them, they will not get paid, or they will not be continued to be paid by the bank. So this is the dilemma for the rating agency. In one step, they need to be objective, they need to be independent, but in other line, they work, they are doing these activities because they are being paid by their employer, the bank. If the bank doesn't like their work, they will be fired maybe, or they will not continue the contract. So that's the dilemma that the rating agency has faced. Okay, that's my answer regarding number 2 question. Okay, the number 3 question for assignment 2 is, based on Article 2, explain the tension between reason, akal, or brain in English, and Satan or Shaitan that can drive you either towards doing the right or the wrong action. Okay, that's okay. After I read the Article 2 about the Al-Ghazali theory regarding the ethics. Okay, the intellect, or the intellect, our brain, our ratio, our thinking, it will assess, evaluate, measure, and calculate all possibilities and probabilities about the benefit and cost of every action we make. Okay, this leaves no room for compromise because it is completely objective. Okay, that's true. More importantly, it can accept or reject divine guidance. So we have free will to make our own decision. Okay, that's one of our fitrah, from our blessing from the God. We are giving a free will to choose what we want to do. Okay, because men can think, because we have akal, because we have brain, giving by the God. The akal is responsible for, he is the human, he or she is responsible for his or her own action, because we have our own thing, our own brain, our akal. So the intellect, akal, is a sign of God's justice, God's blessing, because it gives people the freedom to accept or reject God based on their own rational decision. Because we have akal, we have brain, we can reject God guidance because we have free will. We can reject God's guidance, or we can accept the guidance from the God. So, of course, with the help of our senses. But Satan can come and control the power of intellect. The Satan is our human enemies. They will can persuade us. They have power to persuade men to do the bad decision, to make the bad decision, to do the bad deed. Because the satanic element is based on the story in the Quran about Adam and Hawa. This is for the example. Satan always tries to get people to make bad decisions and do bad things when they have to make a choice. People who have the God consciousness are the one who can beat Satan, or we call it taqwa. So if we a human have taqwa, we do not have to afraid against satanic power to persuade human to make a bad decision. Okay, people place a high value on intellect while making judgment. Certain evil or unethical inclination in us will arise if Satan can control our complete use of intellect. So be careful. Satan will persuade us to do bad thing, to do evil, to do an ethical inclination. When the intellect is unable to control the evil energy, the Satan persuasion, unethical behavior results. Satan submit to God but not to the intellect. When making major decisions, people should seek guide direction. So when we turn to God for guidance in overcoming the evil influence, the Satan influence, we are taking ethical action. When we turn to God, our intellect can acquire some positive traits or virtues. Divine wisdom is required to use our intellect effectively and correctly. Our mind is insufficient to make ethical decisions. God must also provide direction. So I can conclude that if we humans have taqwa and guide direction, guidance, we can make a good decision. We can, even though Satan persuasion, if we submit to God, if we ask God's help, God's direction, we can still make a good decision because we have taqwa. So akal, without taqwa, we cannot make a good decision. But with akal, human can make a decision, even though it's rejecting God's guidance. But because the Satan persuade. But if we have taqwa, we can defend ourselves from Satan persuade. So we ask guidance from God to make a good decision, to always make a good decision. So we not only need akal, we have akal, but we also need taqwa. Okay, that's my answer for question number 3. That's it. That's all my answer regarding assignment course study. If you like my presentation, please like and share. If you had something to discuss with me, please let me know. Just email me or give some comment to me, and I will reply your comment. Okay, thank you, Professor Saiful and fellow student. I'll recap this presentation right now. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.